Hello, everybody, and welcome back to ThorpeTube and Pugio Fide. We are starting out today's stream on ThorpeTube, but we will be...
Today is Tuesday of the third week of Easter in the liturgical calendar.
Yes, it is.
Why did that echo? Oh.
I don't know.
Can you hear that?
I heard a little something, yeah.
I understand. I have solved the problem.
Let's go.
All right. Who's going to be our first caller?
So we have we have an open topic discussion kind of format for today's show.
Is this a good look? I'm not doing well.
I think that, yeah, it gives Catholic.
This is embarrassing, Grace. See how much better that is? Well, it is what it is.
It's making my eyes itchy just to look at it.
It's the cross I bear. Steelman, I will convert for you, Grace. Great, come on over. Let's finalize it. We'll do an e-baptism. Do you know that non-Christians can baptize someone? Is that true?
I didn't know that. Let's ask ChatGPT. Can non-Christians baptize someone?
So like two Muslims could baptize each other. I don't think you could baptize yourself.
The Catholic Church teaches that any person, even a non-Christian or an atheist, can validly baptize if they use water, say the Trinitarian formula, and intend to do what the Church does when it baptizes.
Hey, Grace, look. Interesting question here.
It is a new necklace. Check out the latest live stream I did on ThorpeTube, how to open gifts and packages like a normal human being, for the full unboxing.
Some people would see it as like possibly a crime to receive a gift like that. Others see it as a gift.
Yeah, it's funny. How
Mr. and Mrs. Thorpe. No, that's not true. It's Mr. and Ms. Thorpe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You can take that however you want. Jeremy's not too thrilled. Hey, this is not about Jeremy and drama. Ben, you are not looking well. Yes. One of the reasons I don't look well is because you crossed the Atlantic Ocean to seek refuge in my children's house, where my children were living, and
true.
That keeps me up nights. But not really. Make your dad get some sun, Grace. Yes. Let's touch grass. But first, let's... Christina, love it. Long time no see.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We were going to meet up
with that. No, can I do an update? Because this is what this channel's supposed to be about. It's called Pugio Fide, is it?
It is, yes. We're doing streaming right now.
Fide, which means the dagger of faith.
Yeah, give us the update.
I got this close to getting a major apologist, Joe Heschmeyer, to agree with me that William Albrecht is crazy wrong. And what he said to me on his channel twice for no reason. And I also would like him to say that his behavior is outrageous. But I just asked it from an intellectual point of view.
Yes. This is a question about biblical inerrancy. Whether the Bible...
I'm going to be getting lots of sun soon.
Yeah.
Is that someone knocking on our door, I hear? Is someone popping up?
What? Did someone knock? I didn't hear anything.
Is someone hit the StreamYard link?
Oh, no.
Grace, your door's open. I can hear it myself. Shut it.
Okay, hold on.
Well, that means what the Lord is giving us, an opportunity to read today's Mass readings, which we are not going to read in a liturgical setting, because I'm not a priest and you are far from a...
Holy woman.
Yes, far from a nun, as we all know.
Woman of God.
But that does not prevent us. In fact, the church encourages us to whatever extent we're able to participate in the liturgical life of the church, which today situates us. And by the way, all you guys are into like this kind of stuff.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Leather porn.
Oh yeah. Oh, hey.
That's a customized
I love
piece
it
right there. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Tuesday of the third week of Easter. Do you want me to give the little like spiel, or just go right into the readings?
Give the spiel. It's informative.
Severe as the accusations were, they did not disturb Stephen. Do you know who Stephen is?
No.
You don't know who Stephen is in the Bible?
Mm-mm.
Could you guess from the context?
I really don't know.
He was the first. He wasn't the first martyr if you count the proto-martyrs, the infants, but I believe he was the first Christian martyr.
Was he an apostle?
Beautiful. I don't think so.
Oh.
Anyways, because his conscience acquitted him. There's no greater tormentor than a bad conscience. Grace.
True. My God.
And no better defender than a good one. For a good conscience is a continual feast. Interesting. It is the best comforter in all adversity. It goes with us into prison. True. Is with us in distress, in death, and even before the judgment seat of God. Okay. First reading. Stephen boldly reminds the early Christians of how Jesus suffered and died. This is also a spiel. It's not part of the...
Okay, yeah.
Those who listen become angered, oddly enough, and begin to stone him. Stephen prays for his persecutors. Saul consents to the execution, but later is to become the great Saint Paul. Interesting. You have a lot in common with Paul.
Paul says execute him? Execute Stephen?
Saul consents. So he's not necessarily hurling the stones, but he's okaying it.
Why?
Well, don't you know the story of Paul? I mean, where have you been?
I thought I don't know what part of the Bible this is at. Okay, so this is before Paul becomes a Christian. This is when he's persecuting Christians.
Yeah, you understand how the liturgical season works? It's like, it sort of tells the story. So after Easter, now we're in the book of Acts, like after Jesus. Between Pentecost is when the Holy Spirit comes down. So it's 40, like it's like what happens after Jesus dies and is risen. So this is where like the early church comes in.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Reading from the Acts of the Apostles, Stephen said to the people, the elders and the scribes, the dreidel people, although I think he was one of them. You stiff-necked people, uncircumcised in heart and ears. Okay, though right? The implication being though you've got a nice little collar downstairs, not ears, not heart. You always oppose the Holy Spirit. Now, we were just watching just briefly the Hebrew Israelites saying, we was kings, we was Hebrews. God likes us because he likes Hebrews. What does God say to the Hebrews here? And these people believe in the Bible. What is God saying about the Jews? You suck.
True.
You always oppose the Holy Spirit. You are just like your ancestors. You aren't kings. You weren't kings. You're stiff-necked. Now, is God an anti-Semite?
He's a critique.
Does that sound anti-Semitic? It sounds like a father who's sick of his kids because they're people, you know? It doesn't sound like, hey, you guys are special. You guys are better than everyone else. Run around saying that. It sounds like,
True.
you know what? You suck.
That's true. It does sound like that.
Which of the prophets did your ancestors not prosecute? Did you do good with any of the people I sent you? No. No, of course, there's an implied love. Like, let's do better here, guys. But a father yells at his children. It's not anti his children. But, you know, that's what love is about. That's what it's like to be fam. Right? Grace, have I yelled at you?
Yes.
Does that mean that I'm an anti-Graceite? No!
No. Means you're pro.
I'm a Graceophile. Does
True.
that mean that your shit doesn't stink? No.
No.
No. Does that mean that you can cruise through life and not have to deal with difficulties like some people? And ask mommy and daddy to help you out every time you lack social skills? No. Which of the prophets did your ancestors not prosecute? Persecute. They put to death those who foretold the coming of the righteous one, whose betrayers and murderers you have now become. Now that's anti-Semitic. Listen for the Mossad hit. You, collective, you, who's he talking to? The dreidel people.
The Jews.
Have become the betrayers and murderers of the righteous one sent by the God you claim to worship. Now, we have to be careful because the church teaches us that's true of that generation, but not. It's not, the you does not go on for perpetuity.
Right. Right.
The blood of our Lord is upon these people's hands. Nah, you know, not necessarily every single one, but like kind of collectively. They did this.
Right.
But not today. Okay? Much as we'd like to say that. Perhaps.
As much
because
as Tucker Carlson wants to talk about the people eating hummus.
Because who is this to today, Grace? Who is this to today? Who are the
Europeans who
are the stiff-necked people, right, unbaptized in heart and ears, who always have opposed the Holy Spirit, who persecuted the saints, the white man,
Christian,
Europeans.
Yep.
Okay,
true.
So that's why the church makes us take the voice of the Jews. And we don't wear a little like big nose and all that stuff. We're today's Jews and we're failing. As far as being a people. I'm not crying for anti-Semitism, anti-white. And, you know, we can do this whole thing too. We was kings. Like, okay, they was kings too. What is it to be a king? What is it to walk closely with God? It's a privilege, but you have to be you have to appreciate it. Now,
Mm.
who is kings in terms of people? The blacks of Africa.
Yes.
They are the new kings.
True.
Hey, you know.
I think there's like 200 million Catholic Africans.
I think we, as a people, Europeans, it's not a fixable problem.
The birth rate is.
I want to be like those Jews at that
fixing.
time going, okay, yeah, well, it's gone to Africa. There's a few people who like converted, but by and large, my people have said, and my people specifically, the Norwegians are the most secular group. Fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck you for doing that. Don't blame it on the Jews. Don't blame it on immigration. Don't blame it on anyone but yourselves. I don't care. I think it's shameful, but, you know, I say open the door to the Africans. They are the inheritors of the earth. I'm a Catholic supremacist. That's why I identify as a black man.
In the chat says, Catholics are not that great. I grew up anti-Catholic, and I'm an African black. Interesting. Would you like to call in, James Corvus?
Happy to have a conversation with you. I may seem a little bit bombastic, but I'm really a gentle soul.
If you click the link I just put in the chat.
So, Chris, I got 67.
Let's go!
And you think it's all because of you. All right. You received the law as transmitted by angels, but you did not observe it. When they heard this, they were infuriated, and they ground their teeth at him. Damius Octavius, for $5, says...
Damius with a super chat. Whoops, we both clicked it. Sorry. Go ahead.
Instead of asking, why aren't you Catholic? Why not make a pitch as to why you should be Catholic? That $5 just changed the title of this stream. You got it, buddy.
Okay.
Whatever you say.
Okay, wait.
Can you change it?
Yeah, I can change it.
I am instituting new policy here on the Dagger of Faith. Money talks, bullshit walks. Now, to our African friend, you got to click on. I'm not going to sit here and engage you forever. If you got $5, I understand if you don't. But if you do, if you want to come up, like your time or money is welcome here, and we will value it. And since we're just rolling out the red carpet here on this new programming arc, we will be most generous. And I have offered my lovely daughter here as eye candy, and she'll even talk to you.
That's true. That's true.
But no takers yet.
Not yet.
The Dagger of Faith. Good question, BBG7777. The Dagger of Faith is there's a weird story behind that. It's a medieval phrase. Look at that. Thank you, eBay. Never opened it. And it was a book written to the Jews to get them to convert to Christianity. I disavow Latin titles for really like Catholic stuff. I think it's dorky. And also like things like a dagger being in the background or a sword. But we have had real signs. Grace can attest to this.
True.
Real signs from God that he wants us to be dorky in this area. So it's like the worst concept in a way. It seems anti-Semitic, like kind of dorky violent, like ye oldie sword, and also douchey Latin phrase-ish.
Yes.
But you see, just like Damius, you spend $5, you get what you want. All the more so, and I'm not insulting Damius because I don't think he would make the claim to be the creator of heaven and earth, but if the Lord seems to want something, that's how we roll. This isn't about me or you, right? This is about the Lord. And the Lord, I think, has a certain affection for this kind of stuff. You know? Or it's a joke or something. I don't know. But we can go into the sign at some point, but I don't want it to seem crazy. I don't want to seem crazy.
It does have to do with a knife found on the floor, Billy. The ground.
In a park.
Yeah.
With Craig Cooley of ill repute.
Oh, yes.
An Irishman.
The crack burglar. Crack Cooley. A lot of Catholic haters in the chat. Catholic religion is a horrible religion.
No problem. I am not here. You will not offend me if you attack Catholicism. I am not claiming that Catholicism is like my personal thing, so you're welcome to. I have a lot of criticisms of Catholicism as it is practiced, but none of Catholicism in theory or like the teachings. It's a remarkable tradition. I love it. But you know,
Hello,
you're
Burgess.
welcome. I'm welcome to. I would love to hear what you have to say.
Burgess?
But just saying, I don't like it. Is it Burgess or Burgess?
I say Burgess.
I think it's Burgess.
Is it Burgess? Our faithful Eastern Orthodox brother, leading Ruby.
Oh, is he EO?
Number one simp for, yes, to the Orthodox faith. Enjoy that. Oh, here it is! We got our first caller! Hello, James. Okay, I see that you're not cammed up. Can I get you on cam just to wave? Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, this is the guy that leans it, like, kind of.
No, that's Arcade Pilot. Okay, this is a different guy.
Oh.
All right.
James.
Hey,
welcome to the show.
Hey, what's good? How you guys doing?
Doing good. How about you?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I just came on. I mean, a little misnomer. I'm actually Black Caribbean, so, well, at least, of course, raised in America, but yeah, but I guess I'm of African descent. Yeah, I was raised kind of anti-Catholic, so the question is interesting.
What island in the Caribbean?
Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh, which one? Trinidad? Are they two?
Well, actually, both. My dad's from Tobago, my mom's from Trinidad.
Ah, okay.
Kind of a weird thing.
Rihanna's from there, right?
No, she's from Barbados.
Who's from? I
thought it was Nicki Minaj.
Someone is from.
Nicki Minaj is from that island, but she's an Indian though. So yeah.
Okay. All right.
So,
love to hear what you have to say.
We were making a point that Catholicism is, I think, the most black religion in the sense that I believe the Catholics have gone from 12 million to 200 million, some numbers like that, in Africa.
Right.
Trinidad and Tobago was a colony of England?
It was of Spain, France, and
Spain?
Then
oh, wow. So you got the whole run.
Like on my mom's side, there's a lot of Catholics on there. On my dad's side, they're weird. They're like Seventh-day Adventists. They're like waiting for that weird shit. But like when it comes to Catholicism, my mom grew up a Catholic, but she didn't like it because obviously you got these, pale skinned people, that you just bound down, worshiping to and everything like that. Me, I don't like the optics of it. And I think that she didn't like it because of the optics. My thing comes from the
are you talking about like the priests were white?
Yeah, in some cases the priests are white, but when it comes to like the imagery, so when you look at the imagery of like Jesus and the imagery of like the saints, they're basically that, right? Now, what's interesting is that during slavery,
they can be, but like
right. That's what I'm getting to. So when they had like these when they mixed with a lot of that African stuff, when they mixed a lot of those things to kind of hide it within the Catholic Church, this is how you get like Santeria and all this other shit. It's basically
okay. So you're saying like native religion
yeah,
got mixed in,
and became like a hybrid religion. So they basically
yeah. You find that a lot in Hispanic culture, I think.
Exactly. And see, and
you know what I'm talking. You know what you're talking about. We were talking about, Grace, like those candle stores where they have like they have legit Catholic stuff, and then they have that other stuff mixed in.
Yeah,
yeah, because the Mexicans do the same shit. Yeah. So when we get to that point, eventually they'll start getting into, I don't know, Orthodox Catholicism or whatever you want to call it, like Roman Catholic, the way that you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, when I was growing up, my mom's didn't like the optics of it. When I came to learn, because I grew up like Baptist and all that.
Well, wait a second before you go into it. The optics of that whole mixing thing, or the optics? So you're saying like it was presented as European,
like, basically them just bowing down, worshiping the European. Because she brings up the story of my grandmother talking about like how she just sits down, she got her knees and started crying to like these statues and everything. And my mom was like a crazy Christian back in the day, and she was talking about like, you know, in the Bible you're not supposed to worship idols and all this other stuff.
Yeah, sure.
All that shit. So, when it came to that, when I was looking up like the 5 sacraments and all this other stuff, it just seems like it's pointless. When I think that when it came to European history, I think that the Catholic Church kind of cucked the European, because I don't think that the church could control like the Germanic and the Celtic people. I think.
Oh yeah, I know this theory.
They had to kind of incorporate what they were doing into the Catholic Church that has really nothing to do with Christianity. I think Catholicism is the most European type of Christianity.
Okay, let me follow what you're saying, because it's kind of interesting, because it's a little all over the place, but like then again, like so are we all. But okay, so you're saying, so my people, my background is
Germanic Celtoids.
Nordic, like Viking, 3/4, 1/4 Anglo. But I agree with you. If you look at the history, those people were like, even when we say Europeans have been Christian a long time, I mean, they were only became Christian like around 900 or 1,000. Like these were the outskirts of the Roman Empire.
Right.
And there is an argument, it's an interesting one, that it never really took like it did in the Mediterranean, because we have a warrior culture. And I'm not sure if you're saying this, but like that way, what's called syncretism, where you kind of mix stuff.
That's the word.
There's a really interesting theory that like all of this, like kind of Lord of the Rings style Catholicism, is actually not really very Catholic, in that it's a mixture of warrior culture and Christianity that actually doesn't really hold up very well. Catholicism is not really compatible with a warrior mentality. I mean, you could say Jesus is like a warrior, but
yeah, then you'll get into the whole like Egyptian thing, and like all the where he says that like I came to not bring peace, or like the sword or something like that. You get into that whole warrior Jesus, because the Messiah for the Jews, he is supposed to be a warrior. He was supposed to kick the Romans out. Jesus didn't do that, hence that he's not the Messiah.
Can I just clarify? I'm just curious. So
yeah, I mean, I would just hold on a second, Grace, if I could just say,
no problem.
I agree with the criticism that a whole lot of what we see as like medieval Catholic culture it's kind of, yes, legitimate, and then there's just a lot of garbage added to it that isn't really Catholicism, and that when Catholicism moves elsewhere, it should shed that crap.
Right.
But anyways, like Catholicism kind of tolerates stuff that's not quite, you know what I mean? Whereas like Protestantism is more like, no, it has to be this way. But anyways, go ahead, Grace. Sorry.
No, I was just wondering. So are you saying that you're anti-Catholic because you see Catholicism as a white religion? I'm just curious. Yes.
Well, okay. Yes. I see it as a white religion. So I don't think it's compatible with Black people in general. So if I'm somebody that's descendant of enslaved Africans, it hasn't really done great for me. So like when you look at all these slave rebellions in like the Americas, a lot of them was initiated through like traditional African religion. So we're calling on African gods. All that shit that went down in Haiti, that was through African gods. That wasn't no Catholic stuff.
Is that true? I mean, I don't know much about it, but like
Yeah.
But Haiti never
like
established an African religion after independence. Like they did kill all the French, but like they didn't. It still remained largely Catholic, right?
Yeah, it did, but that was because of the mulattoes. So when the French had kids, they kind of got into power, and then that mulatto influence is the reason why they have.
Oh, I didn't think there were many mixed people in Haiti. I thought they kept.
There was a lot. There was a huge class of it.
Oh, okay. Because my thing I've always been telling Grace, like Catholics always mixed, whereas Anglos keep it separate.
Yes.
But I thought an exception was Haiti because there was just so many blacks, you had to treat them
because the French
brutally. But like the French do encourage, yeah.
The French codes were similar to the Spanish codes. It's just that when I talk to people about like, you know, like what slavery and colonialism, the different whites have different systems of doing it.
Yeah.
Try to breed you out. The Anglos try to like kind of keep you apart, but not also try to like get rid of you later on when they want to expand.
Yes.
So like they have different ways.
I agree with that.
MOs of doing their colonization.
It's a different strategy, right? And from a secular point of view, just saying like both of them can work if you want, like, you know, you want to take over a country but remain dominant over it. But religiously it's also different because you need, in order to keep everything separate, you do really have to say we're better than you. Whereas I don't think Catholics wanted to say that. Even though obviously they thought they were superior. And in some ways I do think you have to admit they were superior, but not racially, but religiously. Anyways,
but see, that's the thing. Like when you look at the Portuguese, like the Portuguese will go in and they will try to convert the kings. This is why they had such a problem in Japan, because they didn't want to convert. They did business with Europeans through the Dutch because the Dutch wasn't trying to convert you because they were
right. They just wanted money.
Right. They just wanted money. Calvinists is like, oh, well, we're not trying to convert you because, you know, if you want to be saved, you're going to be saved.
Right. Interesting.
And that's also the thing with Protestantism. Protestantism doesn't necessarily, you don't have to necessarily go and proselytize. But for Catholicism with the Jesuits, you have to. That's a part.
Okay.
So
can I stop you for a second? I just want to turn around for a second and see if like we could try something interesting. Grace, could you find a, let's say, a Trinidadian and Tobagoning, like Christmas scene or something like that, that's in which the Holy Family is black or something like that?
Sure.
Just as an experiment, what you think? Like I'm just saying with optics, because I actually think it's a little bit complicated. But when you say optics, I sometimes people just bring what they have. You know what I mean? You're going across the Atlantic. You're going to bring what you have. Enculturation does take place in Catholic countries.
So are you're right. So this is true. You're going to find like the black version. But here's something interesting that you might not know. When it comes to like, if you go to Africa, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people will bring the black Jesus, but the Africans don't believe that will work. When you go to Ghana, you get greeted by a giant white Jesus because they think the white Jesus is legitimate and the black Jesus.
Yeah.
So
because I find that interesting because I do believe that most black people worldwide do think that whites are superior.
Yeah, subconsciously.
Name me a country in which blacks are at the top, right? And that's because of I think that's just because of colonialism being. But I do think that what I'm saying is like we became Catholic, so therefore we became superior. I don't think it has anything to do with white skin, but it does kind of look that way. You know what I mean? But I think that go ahead. So I think it's complicated because I think that most blacks don't see blackness as godlike, but like that's their problem, not
it's
mine.
I tried to find Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, but how about a black crucifix or something?
Well, it's just I'm just showing this that it's interesting that they have something called the chapel creche or whatever, and I like throughout the years they have it as white Jesus and white Mary like in their manger scene. And it's just interesting. Like they do have
who's
white
they
figurines. Let me see here.
This obviously is not like the central cathedral. This is like cheap.
So it's mainly just the black people. The Indians, they're mainly Hindus, so they kept their tradition.
Oh, you have Indians there too?
Yeah, that's where Nicki Minaj come from. She half Indian. She's something that.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. She looks somewhat Asiatic. Yeah. And so do those groups keep separate, or it's just sort of all a mix?
Separate. Yeah.
Okay.
The Christians are mainly black people.
So, and so the Indians remain Hindu?
Yep, they remain Hindu. They keep their culture.
Yeah, okay, so here is a, black nativity.
Right.
I don't think that you would claim that, like, the Vatican has a problem at all with this.
No, they don't. I don't think they do.
Okay, so Christian, it never would have, really. I don't think. I know. So
I can't say that.
But do you have a problem with this?
I don't.
I'm just curious. Do you think this is like? Would you have this, or would you say like, I don't feel comfortable with this?
Hello,
James.
Yeah. Oh,
what do you think about this? What would you think seeing this in a Catholic church? Would you say it's pandering? Would you say
pandering?
It's like the thing is, like, if we're talking about like what the basis of Christianity is that you're trying to wait for this baby right here as a man to come back, and a lot of these people don't even exist in that fashion, don't exist in that way. Jesus is really a Jewish thing.
Yeah.
It's really nothing to do with people outside of it. So I feel like this thing kind of went in and permeated into different cultures and kind of cucked them in a way, like it cucked the Europeans. I think the reason why
it cucked the Europeans. Could you? I understand what cucking is.
Yeah.
I've been there, but the church is cucking Europeans. In what sense? I don't really quite get the analogy.
I feel like there was more of a power that Europeans had before Catholicism, because like the Romans were pagans, the Vikings or the Norse were pagans. Like I feel like there was more of a power and more understanding of self before the advent of Christianity, because now they got you worshiping this dude from a place that culturally,
it was foreign. It was definitely a foreign religion. Yeah,
right. And it just kind of gets shoved in.
But there's a lot of evidence that the Greco-Roman culture was dying, and it was not only just Christianity. It was there were many kind of like Eastern religions which became fads. So there was like an exhaustion, I think,
like Mithras,
because the society was sort of dying. No one really believed in the no one believed like Zeus, Athena, like that stuff.
Because cults
So I really don't think that there was much vitality there. I think that Christianity boosted European culture rather than, because you had, even with Christianity, you had the barbarians invading, which shows the weakness of the Roman Empire. Of course, they blame that on the Christians, but like I just think it was a weak culture. It was just blood everywhere, decadence. So I don't think I would. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. You're welcome to say whatever, but I'm not sure.
If you
I would agree that Catholicism, like, how would you sell yourself to a vital culture that didn't want you? Like, it wasn't by the sword, so they were ready for it. Like,
well, you know what? No, I can't say it was by the sword. I mean, it did involve violence because with Constantine, but it didn't become the official.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not the first few hundred years. Clearly, it's church martyrs.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So go back to the colonized.
Okay, sorry, one sec. Here we go.
I mean, I would say the colonized Jesus. Yeah, like that's an image that actually I don't particularly like as a European myself. To me, it looks effeminate.
Yeah.
I don't like people who look like that. Generally, I see them as, if a guy came up to me looking like that, I'd be like, I'm not into that. The historical Jesus thing, I think that also is not quite as accurate.
It's a little exaggerated.
I do think that's exaggerating the Africanness of it. But if you do look at a map of the world, you notice that, if you want to pick someone who seems like they could, do you know how like advertisements today, they'll have someone who could pass as black, could pass as Italian, could pass as maybe
Middle
Central Asian, like that,
Yeah.
to appeal to a population which has now become multi-ethnic. It's kind of like, it kind of looks to me like God did that on purpose, because Israel is like, the Levant is the kind of crossroads of all the major population groups in the world. And so I don't have a problem with, you know, with people making, but I would actually do a correction, even in European churches, to move away from this blue-eyed ginger Jesus.
Yeah, I mean,
but I do think he had long hair, so I think the one on the right's incorrect. But
if you say Catholicism is a white religion, that's why you're anti-Catholicism. Jesus is no more a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white man than he is a dark-skinned African man with curly, short hair. Like, it's the same amount of exaggeration on both sides.
But I think the problem.
Well, here's the thing. So I wouldn't say Ethiopian Christianity is a white man's religion. Right. I think that is an African version, or at least an Ethiopian version, of the religion. What I believe Christianity to be is a Second Temple cult that started in the Second Temple period, and it did, and it was a Jewish cult where the disciples claimed that this dude Jesus, or Yeshua, was their Messiah, and it just kind of spun out from there after he got crucified. So
that's definitely true. That almost everyone would agree that.
Right. So I think that's where it lies. So I think that the cultural ties to it is to the Jews, and since the Jews in general don't believe he's the Messiah, I mean, like, hey, that just kind of ends there. Now, what it is that when you come with Jesus to other cultures, now I got to make that little region over there in the Middle East some type of sacred thing. I got to make it where, like, I start naming my kids after these biblical figures. Like, I'm getting rid of my culture in order to be this thing based off of a hope that this dude is going to come back and fix everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's definitely true. Like, the Jews
that's my particular gripe with Christianity.
The Jews had an inordinate effect on European culture. Everyone, like, a lot of what we think of as European names, Thomas, Michael, David, like, these are not European names. And but they have become associated with Europeans because at a certain point, of course, after the Muslims came, like, it was pretty much like Europe that was Christian. And I think there's an interesting way in which, since I'm a Catholic supremacist, I think the people who are associated at this point with Christianity are superior people. And so I don't have a huge problem with non-Europeans seeing Europeans as superior, but not because they're white, but because they're Catholic. Like, for example, how are you going to draw like pictures of the saints? I don't know about a black Francis of Assisi. He was clearly an Italian. So
he was a white guy.
I think I think it would be pandering to have a black Francis of Assisi, a black Pope John Paul. Like, these people are even Pope Francis, who's not a saint. He's Argentinian, but he's like white Italian.
Right. Well,
I don't have a problem with that. But like, in some ways he's from South American culture, but he's white, zero indigenous or black or whatever. So I think people should do whatever they want. I'm not wedded to.
Right. Because at the end of the day, what I mean? It's about that if you accept this message. So So the thing,
not racial.
Right.
But it's not also like anti-racism. Like I think it would be stupid for them to have chosen a black pope who wasn't as qualified because he's black. Like, I think that would be stupid. I think you should always, like, not. I don't think you should do DEI popes.
I don't. Well, here's the thing.
You know
I don't think the popes are important, especially in the American context, because allegedly aren't the popes supposed to be what's it called, infallible?
They have a power of infallibility that they
have
a
power of infallibility.
Yeah,
because I know I grew.
They're the leaders. Yeah, we all know the Pope is the leader.
We do have someone else backstage.
Most shit about the popes.
Really quick, I want to add
James, you are Well, maybe we should just do one at a time. James,
you want to do one at a time?
Maybe just put James back. James is a very interesting, complex. Like, there's a lot he's saying. So, let's leave it at that for now. Put a pin in it. I don't know what we disagree with, but maybe you could cook it a little bit and
basically what
I certainly enjoy it. But go ahead.
Since you are a Catholic supremacist, you feel like Catholicism has worked for people in general, because you're not even just talking about people. You're talking about just like this can help everybody on the planet.
Yeah, it's the best, right? Yeah.
Specifically, if you believe in the message, you might just be a cultural Catholic where you just.
I'm a convert, so I wasn't raised Catholic. So.
Oh, that's interesting. I thought you were.
I mean, I was raised in New England, which is culturally Catholic, but it was Irish Catholicism, which I consider inferior. But.
Well, they were. Yeah, they weren't part of the church until they got reined in like the 800s. They were doing.
Yeah, they got New England Irish Catholicism. We all know is kind of like this part mental illness, part religion, in my opinion. Yeah, but the Irish are welcome to come up and scream at me. But let's put a pin in it, and you're welcome to come back. You're welcome to hang out backstage. But I want to just keep it moving, and I got a bunch of great folks in the back. Thanks so much, James.
Thanks, James. Okay, really quick, we have a Squat Rack with a super chat. Ben, thoughts on universalism? The idea of
$10.
Yes, $10. Thank you.
Money.
Thank you very much for the super chat.
All
Flacco,
right.
You are next. Ben, thoughts on universalism? The idea of eternal hell was a minority opinion until the 5th century, and it's hard to justify eternal torment for temporary sin. Feels like a scare tactic for control.
Okay. I don't think that's true, but that would be an academic point. There were Universalists in the early church. I think it's a wonderful tradition. I think it's surprising to a lot of people because usually you go, well, the earlier you go, the harsher it is. It's not actually true. Mm-hmm. The hard to justify eternal torment for temporary sin. I'd love to hear that argument. Like, I'd love to. I think that's an interesting point. Mm-hmm. It can seem like that's more logical, so we don't have to get into the academic thing. I'm a Universalist in the sense that Pope Francis, Universalist, he said, I personally hope there's no one in hell. Doesn't make me happy to think there's anyone in hell. That's not universalism, but it's not my. I think anyone who's like, I have to admit, I would like to see some people in hell, but that's because I'm not a good Christian. But when in a moment of sobriety, I would say like, no, because, and it's just selfish. Like, I don't want to be there, but
yeah,
I don't know. It does seem like scriptures indicate like it's not going to be empty. But me personally, I shouldn't. Not to say I don't, but I shouldn't want to see someone in hell. And I do think the scare tactic thing is fascinating. I don't think any other branch of Christianity really says that. I think they all say, almost all say like, you're going to go hell if you don't do this. It does seem like a scare tactic. And I think, reject that. I don't think that's Catholicism though. I mean, I know that's not Catholicism, but so I'm not about damning anyone to hell. I don't think anyone should be, but sometimes you get frustrated, but like you should apologize and say I didn't really mean that. All right, next up, wait, let's do a little housekeeping.
Okay.
Love James. He's like our dollar bill that you put at the beginning of your, you open your restaurant. He's like our dollar bill. Always will remember him fondly, James. But we do prioritize. We are running a show here. We care about your soul, but we want to see your pretty face. Yes. This is also so if you want to jump to the front of the line, do what our next friend did and cam up.
Welcome to the stage, Flacco.
Hey,
Fred. Hi, Ben. What's up, you guys?
Hey, buddy.
Okay, I don't agree with Catholicism because basically it stems from Paul. It stems from Paul, who, I felt like Paul had this traumatic thing, and, he persecuted Jesus, and maybe he blames himself because Jesus was killed, because he killed Christians and he persecuted them. So I felt like, his Damascus things of seeing the 5,000 or 500,000 people and him and them.
Flacco, I think he may be being confused. When did Paul see 5,000 people? Damascus, he was blinded, so he didn't see much of anything.
He claimed to have seen Jesus afterwards.
Yes, he saw Jesus. The 5,000, I think, is different.
Yeah, that's kind of a different theology of sorts.
Okay,
yeah,
so you're saying, I understand this criticism that Paul took Christianity in a fundamentally different direction.
Yes.
That you think was a bad direction because he had a mental illness having to do with repressed guilt or something like that?
Yeah, that and
well, that would be a critique of Christianity. Like very few Christians would exclude Paul. I mean, almost none.
Some of his theology does kind of deviate from Paul, given his letters, the ones who were...
Some of whose theology deviates from Paul?
Like Paul, when he talks about Jesus, he believed that Jesus came back as a solid as a spirit, not a solid person. But Jesus wrote differently as coming back in the later Gospels. Okay,
Jesus didn't write. Flacco.
Okay, Paul. No, I meant Paul. When Paul wrote Jesus, he wrote Jesus as coming back in a spirit form. But of course, other theologians, when they write about Jesus, they say, no, he came back to life after he died. Like it wasn't a vision, it wasn't a spirit.
Okay, but Paul seeing Christ in a vision doesn't mean that he denied the resurrection, right? He's just saying Jesus didn't descend again and visit me physically, right?
There's some word semantics in there.
So you're thinking that Paul was sort of denying the resurrection and saw Jesus as a spirit? I don't see anything there, because Paul says if we deny the resurrection, then the whole thing is just garbage.
Yeah, but in his letters where he talks about Jesus came to him as a spirit, though. But yeah, he does.
Flacco, can you give me a little bit of background about yourself? Because we're academic, but we're also people. So are you?
Yeah, I grew up as Christian, so but I kind of like.
You look to me Hispanic, but I'm not.
Yeah, I'm Hispanic. Yeah, I'm sorry.
So,
but yeah, I grew up as
Christian, Protestant, Catholic culture, Protestant.
Let me see. Fundamentals. That's basically Protestant. Yeah, like don't
in America.
Everything else is witchcraft. Don't pollute your mind with this and that. And
okay.
Yeah.
But in America, you don't have a thick accent, so I'm assuming you were mostly raised in America.
Yeah. I'm from Cali, but yeah.
Cali, we love Cali.
We love Cali.
Yeah.
You know what I just say personally? This is like not a religious thing, but it's just like a cultural thing. I grew up in New England. This is like Anglo culture, the basis, right? And we went to Texas and California. We could see, because that was not originally part of America, right? It was part of Mexico. So the old culture is the Hispanic culture, and it's a really different vibe. Like, you guys are much nicer than Anglos.
Way more.
I love Anglos. I love my people, but I love my culture. But I was like, wow, it's like, because we're so used to here, the Hispanics being very latecomers, especially in Rhode Island, like super latecomers. But there, you guys were the old, like you have Mexicans there who are rich, who've been there since, whatever, the Spanish arrived. And it is a different flavor. And it was interesting. I don't think I'd last long there because I'm more New England, you know what I mean? But like the way you resolve issues, people just have much better social skills, much kinder, I think. Anyways.
Well, there's a lot of conceitedness in California for sure, but
yeah, there's the superficial stuff, but yeah.
I don't know that much Spanish, unfortunately, because of assimilation. My grandma and her family. They didn't teach my
So you're
mom
like
and
what,
stuff
third
Spanish.
generation? You're third.
Yeah,
You're not
like,
old,
third
Callie.
generation.
Okay.
They made my parents speak English and when they got home and stuff. So it was like assimilation. So yeah, but I would love to know more Spanish.
My guess is that you have some native blood in you.
Yeah, somehow. I'm not sure how.
What do you call that in Spanish? If you're you probably have native and some Spanish. I think that's called. There's something called mestizo, which is different than mulatto, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
If you have black, native, and like Spanish, do you know what that is, Grace?
I don't even know.
Mestizo, something like that. And maybe those are derogatory. I don't mean to be derogatory.
There's a bit of. I'm a bit Spaniard too. Spaniard.
Yeah, you probably have
Spaniard, and Mexican. Spaniard.
So Flacco, is your issue with Catholicism that you're saying it's basically a conspiracy made up by Paul to trick
No, it's
people?
basically it. Go on. Oh, it's basically a conspiracy made up by Paul. No, I think that it's basically, I think Paul is doing what he feels is right, but I feel like some of his letters were fake and some of his letters were real, but the ones that are real, it seems like he's talking about seeing Jesus. It seems like from his letters, he's saying that he saw Jesus, but Jesus came back as a spirit. It seems like he didn't come back in the flesh, but I know that Paul's talking about a real resurrection, but there's some semantics in there with Roman words, and I should have brought it up, but yeah.
I mean, those are interesting thoughts, but I'm just saying, why does that, like, what are you saying? Are you good with, if we take the letters of Paul, the writings of Paul out of the New Testament, do you love what's left? Or like, are you just sort of like, you're just in the state where you're just like, you've heard theories and you're...
Oh, no, it's a part of the story. It's there. It's a part of the story. It's a part of, it's a part of the whole theology story of how we came to be and religions and how that was founded. We can't get rid of that. But
right. Okay. So you understand Christianity as a package deal that includes Paul. So if you drop Paul, you drop the whole thing. Because I think that obviously the last 2,000 years, I don't know that there's really been ever a movement that said, let's get the Paul out of the New Testament and keep what's left.
No,
so it does seem like a package deal. I agree.
Although he never met Jesus in the flesh, though. I mean, he never sat down.
Well, where does that put you? So you're not obviously... So then you're hesitant about Christianity in general? Or
I know a lot of the issues and flaws of Christianity, but my second point is about the Trinity. I don't believe in okay, let's look at Abraham. Abraham was God's best friend. So wouldn't God tell Abraham, "Oh, I got two other parts of me too"? But no, he said, "I am Yahweh." Yeah, Yahweh, and then he used two other people. He would have said that, but no. He would have said that, and like he has a son, but he didn't say he has a son. And and in Isaiah 57, and the Torah, and the old Bible, the Old Testament, it says that he is only one. There's nobody after or before. So I go by that too. I try to go by what the source says.
Okay, so yes, I agree with you that in the Old Testament, God did not fully reveal himself, right? All Christians, again, would say it is true that only in the incarnation did he fully reveal himself. Although I think people would say there are hints in there. So, like, even with Abraham, I forget where it is. Aren't there three angels that come to visit Abraham's brother, Lot, or something like that? And so you could say that's a hint. But okay, so your idea is if God is homies with Abraham, why wouldn't he reveal this? So the typical response is that God met people where they were at. And for Abraham, the main thing was the oneness of God, because paganism was the norm in that time. So he may have emphasized the oneness, which we still hold, Trinitarians, right? Because maybe the Trinity thing would have made it seem paganish. So he had to kind of walk him through the oneness part. And once he got the oneness part, now we can talk about the Trinity. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So what about it makes you like, what I'm saying is, what pays the bills here? Is this something that you truly struggle with, or you're just sort of dabbling?
I've been raised Christian all my life, and
Nice.
plus I'm always around it because of friends and family around. So it's like I never gotten out of it, but it's like I might as well learn theology and try to write about it and write a. But
and when you've been around it, right? So you have family members who take you to church,
yeah,
or whatever, right?
But
have you ever said like, yeah, I'm one of these people, or is it just kind of like,
no, no, because a lot of people, I never really felt Jesus, so a lot of people would kind of like say, "Oh, you'll feel it one day," but no, I don't feel. Plus, again, there's a lot of text. There's a lot of different things in the Gospels. The Gospel of Luke says something one way. The Gospel of Mark
true,
just says that the women fled after they rechecked the tomb, but
I would say, Flacco, just from knowing you a little bit here, it seems like, by any chance, have you taken a lot of drugs at any point in your life?
No.
Okay, maybe you have a slight mental challenge, because you might not be the best person to sort all this stuff out.
Yeah, it's complicated. I don't even know.
Like, you may not be like, that might not be your gift.
What am I not explaining right? I'm sorry about that.
Well, it just seems like there's something a little off in your affect, which I'm not saying to put you down in any way, shape, or form, but I don't get the sense that the Lord has given you the gift personally of like clarity of mind. And I would suggest your dad might help you, and just go with what he says, because although on the internet we all can ask these sort of questions, like, I'm not sure you're going to get anywhere down this path.
I have way too much clarity. I have watched a lot of videos on this stuff, and I do a lot of research on my own.
Watching a lot of stuff on the internet is not my definition of clarity.
There's these other few channels that talk to real credible people and get into the real credible theology. I look at the text and all that, so I'm not like.
It sounds like you just have a very superficial idea of this stuff.
A lot of things.
I don't know. It sounds like there's like a lot of just stuff jumbled up. That's what I would just charitably say.
So I'm trying to clear it up.
Flacco, thank you for calling in. We do have some more people.
Talk to your dad. Do what he says. That's my suggestion.
All right. See you guys next time.
Thank you, Flacco.
Come back again. Yeah. Nice to see you.
Thank you for calling in. Okay. Very nice. Thank you, Flacco. And what was the first guy's name? Jacob?
James
Corvus. Okay. Now, so we have Big D, Bob Lewis, and Raj Sundayev backstage. Okay, Big D is next. Big D's question is, okay, I'm not sure if we want to bring this guy up. This is what he put in the private chat. Can you break down the math down to the hour of how many Jews Hitler needed to find and process to achieve the 6 million number in a 4-year time frame?
How is that about Catholicism?
Sir. Okay, Big D, I'll put you up, but we need a Catholic-oriented question, or we're gonna have to move on, all right?
Okay, go ahead, sure. You go ahead, put him.
Yeah. Okay, I do have you back. You're on stage. Hello? Big D, I cannot hear you. Sounds legit.
Well, maybe we'll try back later.
Yeah. Okay, Bob, you are next. I saw you on cam. Can I get you back on camera? Okay. All right. Now, Bob's question before I put him up was, why is the Trinity relative to salvation in Catholic doctrine? Isn't that just philosophy disguised as theology?
Great question.
All right.
Well, all right. Great. Bob.
Hello, Bob.
Bob, I saw you take a swig of a nice big cold beer. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Great question. I really think Catholics have done a terrible job of like selling the Trinity. And I would say this. Okay, so I would say all you need to know about the Trinity is that God is irreducibly relational. So God is love. If there's something, you know what I'm saying? And I'm saying that tells us something about ourselves too. We are irreducibly relational. We're born into families, which is a kind of trinity, mother, father, kids. And like relationality, love is the most important thing. So I think a religion that reflects that is like that would have to be true if God is love. What are your thoughts?
You kind of went on a tangent. A
tangent?
Well, it just, your answer seemed like I wasn't expecting it. It seems irrelevant to like the whole topic, right?
I don't think it's irrelevant because you're saying like, why bother with this? And I'm saying I think we bother with this because it shows us the nature of God. I don't think that's a tangent, but go ahead. You could disagree, no problem, but I don't see how it's a tangent.
No, I didn't ask like why bother with this. I experience like aggressive Trinitarians that are like, oh, you have to believe in the Trinity or you believe in a different Jesus. And I'm sitting here as someone who's been in multiple camps, Trinitarian camps, oneness camps, Unitarian camps.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I am, while I recognize some of them might be damnable, like fucking Docetism, like something ridiculous.
Docetism, yeah, that's the idea that.
Well, it was just an illusion, like a ghost.
Right.
Something ridiculous like that. I realize something like that might be damnable, but I'm kind of in a neutral camp.
I would say, like, to use the term damnable, I would not say like that's fruitful. Like, I would say wrong, but like damnable has to do with a lot of things that, like, it depends where you're coming from, what your intention is, how knowledgeable you are. I wouldn't say any belief is damnable, but I wouldn't use that language, but like wrong, sure. So yeah, so you're saying like, I mean, obviously I'm a the church is Trinitarian. I would say the argument there is that God is irreducibly relational. So that, like, for example, I would ask you the question, let's say prior to, and I know this is weird about God, but prior to creation or outside of creation, if God was not Trinitarian, wouldn't he be lonely? Like, how can you be a God of love and not have personal relationships?
Really quick, before you answer that question, thank you, Jack Talcott, for the raid. Thank you very much for the Talcott raid. Thank you.
Great guy.
Peace and love. Yeah. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
You know, and just by the way, if I could suggest, there's a great website. What do they call these things? YouTube channel called The Christian King. There's always oneness people on there. It's majority Trinitarians, and they can be crazy with each other, but it's sometimes like they're always debating this, and they do the more like you're going to hell kind of stuff. But it's funny, I think. But anyway, you might dabble if you're interested. It's not my specialty. I don't really know a lot about oneness, but I have been when I've heard Unitarians, or it's usually oneness. I guess it's not called Unitarianism. Is like more just like almost like a fluff for religion at this point, right? Because it's a Unitarian Universalist. It's almost like why bother, right? But oneness is, I think, is the thing. I do think that most Christians, and I know Catholics de facto, are really sort of tritheists. They don't understand how we've maybe overemphasized the Trinity to the detriment of monotheism. Because I was just thinking, like, when, you know, because I was going to have a debate with an Eastern Orthodox about, you know, the Filioque. And the Filioque is in addition to the creed that says, like,
Nicene Creed,
proceeded through the Holy Spirit. Like, it's about what you know what I mean, that kind of definition stuff. They don't like it, we like it. And when I was studying it, the only difference between the persons in the Trinity is kind of like their almost their roles. I'm the source, you're the Son, together the Holy Spirit. Otherwise, there's no difference. So it's incredibly unified, and such that, like, perhaps the best articulator of the Trinity was St. Augustine, and he used the analogy of the human person. I think it's like the will, the intellect, and memory. And he's saying, like, that's the best analogy. But a lot of people will use analogies that I think, that emphasize the unity, because you're saying, like, a person's kind of a trinity. And, you know what I mean? So, like, you can say things like, what would be another one? Ice, water, and steam. That's modality, though. Yeah.
Modalism, right?
Yeah. Like,
which is oneness. Yeah. So, I mean,
or like the candle, the flame, and the light coming from it, or something like that. I don't know.
Right. I appreciate that you said Catholics overstate the Trinity and come off as theists sometimes. Like, I completely agree with that, and it's interesting to hear that from a Catholic. Let
me just take you behind the veil. I've been a Catholic since 1994. There isn't a single time Trinity Sunday when the priest hasn't gone up and gone, "This one's a doozy. I don't know how to preach on this." And I'm like, well, I mean, like, Trinitarian theology can get complicated, but I do think it's simple. God is love. Love is personal. If you don't have a person to love, it's kind of like, I think you end up with, like, a masturbatory God by himself in heaven. You know what I mean? And then you could say, like, well, he masturbates and creates the universe from his seed, but, like, sounds unhealthy. You know what I mean? I had a guy say to me, God is one, and before creation he was lonely, and that's why he created the universe, which is kind of cool in a way to say, like, God loves us that much, but it does make God seem like an incel, sort of, you know what I mean? That he's kind of like,
if
like
God
a parent
love,
that just wants kids because they're lonely, and I think that's unhealthy.
If God is love, then what does he love himself? Like, it would make sense that there's a communion within that. How can someone love themselves? It's kind of like God is a narcissist.
Yeah.
Right. When you talk about that grace, it just sounds like philosophy more than theology. Not to discount philosophy, but it's
I don't understand how it isn't theology. It's like your concept.
Well, theology does involve philosophy inevitably, if you think of philosophy as just like reason, doesn't it?
You're making me question, like, how I would define philosophy versus theology. And
well, do you think that the first chapter of the Gospel of John contains philosophical language? Like logos?
Right. Logos. For sure. Yeah. Well, logos was a philosophical concept that was debated at the time when this was, before this was written, right? So, yeah, now I'm thinking, well, you've kind of got a point. Like, you can look at this through a philosophical lens, and that's not necessarily a negative thing. But
there's the old question, what hath Athens to do with Jerusalem? It's like I don't know. It's sort of a Protestant idea, is like sort of like, and I do understand this theory, like it was a Jewish religion, then it became Hellenized and warped and perverted through that encounter. The problem is, no one doubts that the New Testament was written in Greek, and that Greek philosophical ideas had some play, especially in the writings of John and the Johannine literature. So it's kind of hard not to throw the baby out with the bathwater, because
don't some people believe that Matthew was translated from another language to Greek?
I think that's true, because there are Aramaicisms like that. Like, it seems like you could back translate them, that are like this isn't how Greek writers write. But nevertheless, I don't know. I mean, that's a lot of speculation. All we have is the Greek. Could it could be but the rest of it, no one even argues. Like, even though there's Aramaicisms, like Eli lama sabachthani, when Jesus dies,
right,
he's clearly speaking his native language. But I don't think
right,
anyone would say that the rest of that gospel is Aramaic. But clearly I think the native tongue of our Lord was Aramaic, which is, I think, a cousin of Hebrew. The Old Testament was written in Hebrew. All of it was translated into Greek, and even the New Testament writers used the Septuagint, which was Greek.
Yeah.
So to say, like, well, when the Greeks got involved, it got perverted. It's tricky as a Christian to say. I suppose Jews could say that.
Well, that's just such a broad claim. I would look at it. Well, that when the Greeks got involved, the faith got perverted. I would more so like look at it as which century was it perverted, right? Like, are we saying it was by Ignatius? Are we saying it was by the Nicene Creed? Like, what? Constantine?
Right. And to some extent, philosophy is the language of reason, and we're all inevitably going to be like to use reason. And even like English philosophy, like, we may not know it, but like whatever world you're in, I call it mental furniture. You have a certain mental furniture that you approach a text with, and you may not see how it's like in subtle ways, like warping your reading of something. But especially if you're reading something that's translated, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of layers before you can understand what they were saying, to the extent that if you read parts of Revelation, I just would defy anyone who's never read the Bible, like, tell me what this means. The fourth dragon showed up. You know what I mean? It's like, we don't have that kind of literature. It hasn't been around for centuries. I don't know what to do with it. Like, I just, I would say that's like super advanced level. I leave it to the, theologians. I don't really care. But as a Catholic, like, we're not like, I need to understand what every word of the Bible means. But I know it's a real thing. It's in Daniel as well, the same type of literature. How do you read which dragon is which and the horns and all that stuff? I don't know. I don't find it super fruitful. But there's some beautiful passages in the book of Revelation. I love Johannine literature generally. But what's your thing? Where are you coming from to situate this? So you went to a lot of camps, meaning your parents. You had one parent that was oneness, one parent that was Trinitarian. No,
my parents are. I guess you'd best describe them as like deists or like apathetic toward all of this.
Okay, but you got involved with your peers with like going like to go to a Christian camp. Usually that's a family thing.
I never said I went to a. When I said camp, I wasn't being literal. Like a camp of thought or.
I see. Like online group or something.
No, like
church.
Like I was going to oneness churches. I've been to your Trinitarian Baptist churches, Protestant ones. I've been to Catholic. I've explored them all, really, from the 12 tribes group, cult, whatever you want to call it.
Hebrew Israelites?
No, you've probably never heard of them. 12 tribes. It's like a communal. It's a communal group of, they're kind of like Messianic Jews, but they reject the label. I've been to like the Homestead Heritage Commune down in Waco, Texas, which is like
Let's go.
Yeah,
Waco. That's a dangerous.
That sounds like some good IRL.
Mosey down to.
For sure. I loved it there. I went to the gas station and. I was just like getting a drink or whatever, like a Pepsi, and the clerk, she randomly offered me prayer, and I'm like, fuck, I wish I lived here. Like that's the culture we need.
Oh, okay. So you're kind of like a kind of tourist, and you just like you actually like religion, but you kind of like dabbling, which I think is cool.
I'm focused on Christianity and the sects within it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've explored pretty much every group you can think of.
Have you done the Mormon thing? I'm really interested in that.
Yes. So I so you know how when you join a church, people are kind of like skeptical. Is he a critic? Is he or maybe they're not skeptical, but they speak to you differently based on the context, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, so I deliberately joined Mormonism, was baptized because I.
Oh, really?
I wanted.
Did you get the underwear? Did you get the underwear?
Not the underwear. So,
okay.
Unfortunately, you need like 2 years of week-to-week commitment.
You didn't have the commitment.
Well, and you need to be tithing during this.
But so you were saying you really weren't all in intellectually. You just
no. Well, it's just I want to see what happens when you become a Mormon.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. I like that, Bob.
Conversation.
That's really interesting. Can I give you a piece of advice?
Sure.
I've noticed this online. You're an articulate guy. I told Grace to do this. You're genuine, right? You're not like just a grifter, but you can get so much attention by kind of saying, I'm leaning towards joining your religion.
That is true.
Just have that. You'll get tons of attention. They'll be like, we're praying for you, whatever. And I think you would be like, you're actually open to it. So it's like, yeah, okay, maybe I will find my family. It's not like you're rejecting your family. You're sort of like, didn't really give you much, but okay, they like somehow you have a calling. Why not make it fun? We're going to go. Grace has a friend. He's a simp. He's kind of crazy, to be honest. But he's in Nauvoo, Illinois.
Lalo? Simp?
No. It's Jeremy.
Oh, okay.
It is that level. But he's in Nauvoo, Illinois, which like you wouldn't know that. Do you know that from like the name? It was where, you know how like now the Mormons are associated with Utah, Salt Lake City and all that. It was before Salt Lake City. They're like, we're going to do it here. We're going to create this kind of Mormon like place. And the state of Illinois was originally like, sure, yeah, we got all this land. Like, we come on in. They're hardworking. And then they got sick of them and drove them off. And they had to like cross the Mississippi River to escape. But what happened is because Mormons are super wealthy, they ended up buying back all that land. And it's sort of like a Mormon Disneyland. It's like all the houses are from the 1900s. Really cool. And then all the, I would say, sane and crazy Mormons end up there in the summer. So I just think it would be interesting to, just kind of experience the culture. Now, I am Catholic, so I couldn't like really tell them like I'm really interested. But you could. And why not just get a lot of attention? Because a lot of religious people, they do, like, they are believers. They want you to be part of their group. And why not just like enjoy being not quite in? Do you know what I mean?
Just exploring.
Yeah, fun.
That's a part of the appeal of basically
like edge.
You know what I mean?
Edging,
yeah.
Where they're like, come on, Bob, join.
Yeah, join. Yeah.
You're like, well, I don't know.
You
can find creators. There are a few creators. There's one called Gospel Simplicity. There's this guy with like greasy long hair who's been doing this for years. And he's very polite. Churches. And he'll go to a Catholic church and they'll give him like the bishop, an axe, because he's got a big following. And he's like, I see the hot people. And then he goes to the Orthodox and say, and I think that's a wonderful, there's no loser there. You know what I mean? Right. It's like when I was considering becoming a priest, it was pizza parties, getting to know the bishops. They wine you, dine you, and they don't 69 you, but like they almost would. You know what I mean? Because they're so desperate for priests. And I don't think anyone lost there. I understand the parishioners gave money, but I wasn't just playing them for the pizza. But it's nice because now I personally know like several bishops in New England that I could call up and, whatever. But like, there's, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be, because when you said it's damnable, like, I think God is a real, like, especially in your case, since you're not rejecting,
possibly damnable. Right.
I just think, like, if you say, like, I was raised deist, okay, so, like, a lot of times I would say, like, okay, you know, follow your dad. Like that one guy who was up here, I was like, I think you should just follow your dad.
Developmental disabilities, or
I don't know what that was, but it just seemed to me like, yeah, this isn't like the intellectual journey is not like you're not going to read yourself into sanity. But anyways, whatever. But I think you could do a lot of, like, they would appreciate having you as just like a person who's, you know what I mean, like pleasant and sincerely religious. Like, you obviously have a religious drive. A lot of guys your age would just say, I don't care about any of this. I just want to get laid. I just, you know, whatever. And you got a beer there, so you're like not some kind of lunatic who thinks like the things of this world are evil. I don't see like super incel energy. But you know, like,
thanks for qualifying it. Not
I think
super.
God would, like, I think God likes people. We need more people who are just like, I'm exploring. I love it. These people are nice. You know, not like you don't have to damn them. They don't have to damn you.
For sure.
And then you may at some point say like, yeah, I'm at home. And I hope that would be Catholicism. But, you know, I don't think God demands that you find that home right away. And I don't think this idea like I could burn in hell tonight is a good one. You know what I mean?
For sure. I guess my thing is I want to try my best to see each group. I
love the fact also that you go and see groups, because a lot of people online will say, you know, I watched this video, I've been talking to people online, and like,
no, you
really,
gotta live and not be this distorted weirdo that like.
Yeah, it's a group thing. Christianity is a group thing. It is not a solo project.
My view
I love it.
Like, the original pure form of Christianity is communal. It's together, and you won't find one example of a constructed building for the purpose of church in the New Testament, right?
Right.
So, the idea is that we're together, we exist for this cause, we submit under authority. If you want, you know, I'm not picking my career thinking about university. I'm thinking like, well, where are you going to send me for the mission, and where, right? So
it's a family. Families can be sick too, you know, but like, it's a fam. It's not a, like, I found the puzzle piece online that like makes my world click. And this goes back to my Trinity thing. The idea that you personally found it and there's no community, you have no social skills, like, you found what? You know what I mean? Like, if God's a family, you got to be part of a family. And I think it would be really fun for you to show that you can go and visit these people, because a lot of people like they don't have the sort of balls to just hang with the cult for a little bit. Very few cults are going to like gun to the head you, right? Especially if you're inquiring. They're usually pretty cool.
There are only two in North America that I'm weary of being around. That's Scientology, and the other one is what's that Filipino one where they believe they have the handle at the top of the church because they believe God's gonna like literally
I don't know
the whole thing. They're from the Philippines, I forget, but
even like the snake handlers, which people would say like that's wacko. Usually, you know, they're happy to do it, like, and to show you the snakes and all that stuff. Like,
that'd be so fucking cool to see.
There's only one left. We saw a video about it.
Yeah.
Because the guys, guess what happened to the former pastor?
Do you?
And the guy's brother.
Do you see?
It's like, that's real faith. It's
do you know where they are? Like, are they?
Where was it? Kentucky?
Yeah, something like that.
I think it was because only every other state it's illegal, I think, except Kentucky. But even there, it's gone from like 150 to like one church that still does it. And so it's probably like you're also doing like sort of, you know, you'd be like one of the last, because I don't think it's going to last. It didn't look.
Oh no,
like
it was West Virginia.
West Virginia, that's right. It was West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Of course.
I'm gonna write that down. If you know the name, I'd appreciate that as well.
If you look up snake handling West Virginia, I'm sure it would come right up.
You sure it's literally called?
But there was a video on YouTube. Guy's a nice guy, you know, and then you could see the guy visiting. Yeah.
I can tell you that I was diagnosed with hepatitis C. There was no question about it. This old boy had it.
You get the idea.
That's
awesome.
I want to go there.
This guy's
and I think that like some people want to say they're better than all this. I think you're the type of person who says like, no, you know, it could be real. It's I respect it. You know, I think that's important that you're not like just sort of, you know what I mean, like that kind of snotty like religion's all a joke. You know what I mean? I don't smell that as what you want to do.
One core value I was taught young was everyone has their perspective, even if it seems insane. The core thing is that you respect it, right? Like,
yeah, no, that's great. That's great. And one other piece of advice: if you know someone who's an attractive young woman and you go on the trip, that boosts your views. So my daughter's available.
Oh yeah.
We like
snake
traveling.
Handler, let's go.
You know, but like you could do it as you do seem like the perfect guy for this. Like you're funny, you're nice, you're approachable. You know what I mean? And
Would you be scared at all? I think it would be a little bit of a risk to go to one of those churches. Like you could get
no, Grace. They're not. No, they're not gonna
throw the snake on you. Yeah.
No way. Okay. They go to jail. Right. They know they'd go to jail.
Yeah. Okay. Right. All right.
Plus, that's not the point. Is to like poison people. It's like if you want to. Yeah. I mean, it is pretty impressive because like it comes from you know where it comes from. That Paul, like you can even handle snakes. It's like a tiny little snippet.
I do know it's
when they crashed on the island. Yeah.
With faith, and like you do have to say, like, I mean, the guy's dad and brother died of snake poisoning, and he's still doing it. So it's like, well, those were the real deal snakes. So it wasn't, you know.
See, and my thing, like, I want to know where his mind's at too. Like,
yeah,
did he just think, you know, his brother and dad just didn't have enough faith in that moment? But
right, yeah. Because the way if you watch this video. It's kind of like for your like, it's just kind of like a freak show, but the guy's kind of nice about it, but he's like kind of obviously like, this is nuts. But if you were to get more in depth with it, you know, like to really get into where's this guy coming from, I think they would sniff on you something like that. You're sincere and you're not, you know, just there to use them for cheap clicks. You know what I mean? Right. Not that this guy was either, but, you could definitely.
The next on my radar for visiting is the Apostolic United Brotherhood. It's like a split branch off of Mormonism. Right before they were about to ban polygamy,
is that different than the fundamentalist LDS, or is that part of?
Yeah, there are these whole lines, and like they call them keys of succession, right?
Yeah.
You can't really visit the FLDS anymore because the leader is in prison, so he's banned all marriages from anyone joining. Like I think his idea is, you know, I'm fucked, so all are you, because I have the power, you know, like. And
is it a tight organization? Because I know that you can say like fundamentalist Christians, they're not usually like, there's not like a leader of fundamentalists, but
they even have their own mayors in small towns, and they have cameras on every street. And yeah, you're not getting there in there as an outsider. Before, if you were like a cute gal like Grace, you could join, because they want to just like. Well, they assign wives basically, and you have all these old men, and
yes,
we
need to send the incels there.
Easy dating,
right? Well,
thank you for calling in.
No, Grace. Hold on, I just want to ask one more question. So,
okay,
what were we saying? The FLDS. Are you interested in Oh, so you're mostly within Christianity. So you're not doing like the Jewish crazies like the Hasidic and all that stuff,
No,
or Muslims or
so
secular kind of cults.
the only Jews I'm interested in are ones that don't follow the Talmud. The Karaite Jews, for example, they're only Old Testament Torah. I believe that Jesus, when he was talking to the Jews, he was just basically telling them how to do Judaism properly, because they have been so distorted from their oral traditions and the corrupt hierarchies and whatever. In terms of Islam, they are sort of appealing because I think the majority, pretty much every Christian group I've ever witnessed has been influenced by the modern culture, which includes egalitarianism, right?
Right.
The idea, patriarchy is denied by everyone, right? So,
depending what you mean by that, but yeah.
Yeah, right. So, Islam is interesting because you see these, like, I even know a Shia Muslim who works for me. She still wears the
he's a businessman, Grace.
She still wears the hijab, and yet she lives with her boyfriend, and they're unmarried, and they're having sex. And so you see how North Americanism is like affecting them in our secular culture.
I do think Islam has yet to really encounter modernity. So they think they're all set, but like modernity did a number, even on the Bible, which held up pretty well in the long run, but like it's going to do a number on, even on the, I know the Quran's much more modern. It's much more recent, but I think that they are under the impression that their shit doesn't stink. And I think that
it does.
It's dicier. It's harder to make the case that Muhammad was an historical figure than that Jesus of Nazareth was, I think. But I don't know that for a fact, but it's interesting that they use modern criticism to attack the Bible, but they don't ever seem to use it
for sure,
on themselves. So it's going to be an interesting process. I think Islam is sort of dying. But there'll be like revival movements, and you ever considered international stuff? Because there's America is the land of like interesting religious stuff, but there's so much.
They call them passport bros. I'm not an incel by any means, but they call them passport bros. It is very wise to utilize purchasing power in North America and to go to somewhere like Paraguay or somewhere like there.
Yeah.
And, if you can maintain remote income from North America, that's the only catch, right?
Yeah.
And then you go there as Mr. Rich, and they all flock to you.
Sure, yeah.
It's not.
And sometimes,
nice, so.
If you're traveling around America, you might not recognize like the mental furniture that all American stuff has in common. Whereas if you go, like we ran an Ethiopian restaurant, they are coming from just a totally different mentality. It goes back to the early centuries of the church. There's no racial element to it. There's not this like white Jesus thing. Like they're just OGs, and their religious ceremonies are, from our perspective, crazy. They last like 9 hours. It's like kind of a half seance, half, you know what I mean? So like to even like say like, okay, religion is not just an American thing, or Euro.
You would appreciate countries like Malta. I went there a couple of years ago, and the culture itself is Catholic. So I go to a place like looking to just chill out, have a drink. So I put my feet on the furniture, and they say, "Sir, this is a Catholic country. Like,
interesting.
Don't be so disrespectful." And I'm thinking,
yeah.
Christ, it's a lounge. Like, let me lounge around, right? So, but anyways, my beer's empty. I'm gonna let you go. I'll message you.
Great talking to you.
Man.
Yeah.
Take care.
Last thing. Have you ever been told that you look like John Belushi?
John Belushi. I like that guy. So it's a compliment. All right.
Thanks for swinging by, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah. Bye.
Sorry about that, Grace. I didn't mean to.
No problem. Okay, so we have Raj, who is an anti-Catholic. Next up, I just want to say, though, that I am going to raid from ThorpeTube to Pugio Fide. We have 80 on ThorpeTube, and I want to see you all on Pugio Fide. It's my dad's new channel. Please go over there and subscribe.
Help an old man out.
You'll just be shifted over. All you have to do is watch now. It's the same exact stream.
Just don't click anything.
Don't click off. It'll literally take you there. You don't have to move your fingers, okay? All right.
An interesting trinity of first callers.
See you over there. Okay. Yes, and very interesting. This next guy, I think, is a little more...
we have yet to get a real...
More of a hater.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, we should all be over here now. Okay. Please subscribe, guys. Please subscribe. Everybody's been rated. Okay, let's see here. All right, Raj Sundayev, you are up. Do you have a camera?
It's okay if we don't have anyone cammed, but if anyone wants to jump to the front,
okay,
then the cam is the way to do it.
All right, Raj, welcome to the stage.
Yes, right now I just want to say that I am grateful for the opportunity to talk to Ben. The question is going to be, why for the Catholics to make the physical, like they are to worship saint and the church and the marble.
Raj, hold on. Can you step back from the microphone just a few centimeters?
Yes, right now. Is that volume? Is that better for you?
It's not so much the volume.
It's like you're peaking it a little bit. Just
it's hard because there's the accent plus there's the audio, but like I'm totally happy to have you on.
Obviously, English is not my first language. I am sorry if there is something I am for to say that is not contextually correct. I am very sorry for that.
No problem.
No problem. We can hear you fine. Go ahead.
All right.
Right now, that is the question is, why are the Catholics so many times to worship what I would consider like an earthly or a synthetic possession or material, as opposed to the altruism of what a monotheistic religion is supposed to embody?
Okay. So you're talking about things like statues, icons, that sort of thing? Because it looks like idolatry?
From an outsider's perspective, obviously in the Middle East, there are many people that will worship earthly things, but for specifically American Catholics and the experience I have when I am for to live there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so... This is interesting coming from you're in India or Pakistan?
Right now, I am doing an internship right now in London, so this is what I am to learn. Yes.
Well, okay, so yeah, I actually, from my understanding of Hinduism, I don't think that many people worship the statues, even in Hinduism at this point. Like they're representatives of the gods. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. It's probably closer to worshiping the statue kind of thing. But we would say that, idolatry is worshiping a thing. So Catholics don't worship things. So like if a statue of Mary breaks, we don't think God got broken. But it's just simply an image or a piece of artwork.
Right now, there is only one other thing that you offer to say that I take offense to, and you have to put down the Irish Catholic culture. Why
I grew up around Irish Catholics.
It's your favorite Irish Catholic.
Fake.
Oh my God!
It's the dude. I'm hello, everybody.
That was really good.
That was good. Yeah.
That was
I thought it was totally.
Accent.
I was like, this is like customer service. Our first troll, folks.
That was really good.
I had to have a little fun right now. Right now, I'm having a little fun with the Thorpe family right now. Don't try to fuck on me.
I never would have guessed that in a million years.
Well done.
Nice to see you.
Oh, cheers to you.
Irish,
right now,
fuck with us again.
Right now, Ben, I have one more question. I don't think the dowry is going to be very... How do you get a dowry on your daughter if she is certified pre-owned?
Let's get the PFP and everything.
Bro,
Get this guy out of here, Grace.
Oh, fuck. You guys know where I'm from. It's good to see you both. Have an amazing day. God is good. Irish Catholicism is the only way. The one true path to God. See you, fuckers.
Bye.
Adios.
W Irish. True.
Yeah,
They've always got that little leprechaun thing going.
I thought for sure.
Did you even suspect?
No, not a bit. Raj Sundayev. All right. Okay. Who do we have next? Okay. We have Big D, who is sharing an image of Chad Hitler backstage. We have Spicoli.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, and we have Arcade Pilot, who doesn't have a particular question. Should we go with Chad?
Can we go in can we go in comments, private chats? Can someone say, like, can someone tell us that they have something that that's relevant to our topic?
Question from someone.
We got 4 potential guys in the back.
says he wants to discuss how the Catholic Church was started by the Romans when Rome fell, and they wanted to hold on to power.
Okay, Spicoli, is the word dirt shoot going to be part of your question?
Big D says I can remove the image. Yeah, but Big D, you still, like, we're not answering Holocaust oven questions.
I mean, we can answer them sort of obliquely, but it's not going to be primarily that. So let's get Spicoli. Let's have you answer. You be the apologist.
All right. I'll be the apologist for Spicoli.
I'll be the little guy in the corner.
Big D, I need a question from you or Arcade Pilot before I put you up.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Spicoli, always.
Here we go.
Welcome.
Ben, I like,
hi, buddy.
You know what? I like both your hairs today. Ben, your hair looks kind of like a Keanu Reeves. Whatever you're doing, let it grow longer.
Yeah, I feel like it's Callie. Yeah, it's kind of like chill Callie. Grace's hair looks, to me, a little greasy in the front, but
I
washed it yesterday.
It looks good, Grace.
Hormones.
Ben, I was going to say the priesthood would have saved you from Courtney, wouldn't it?
True, yes. Yeah.
But then Grace wouldn't be here, so it was worth it.
True. Yes, good point.
Okay, obviously I'm Jewish. I don't believe Jesus was the Messiah. But you know what? I want to say this. You know me, I'm open to believe anything. And I'm proud that one of our boys made it. Even though I don't believe he's the Messiah or God or the Son of God, I'm sincere. I'm proud that one of my fellow tribesmen made it that far, to that level, which, I mean, look at the influence Jews had. Jewish religion, Christian religion, Muslim religion. It's kind of weird, man. We do control everything. No. Okay, so we control your... No, okay, here's the thing. Now, if I was Christian, hypothetically, let's say I was a Jesus believer, I would be just a Christian and not a Catholic. I'll tell you why. Because I look at Catholicism, and look, I got a lot of Catholic Christian friends. So, like I said, my whole thing is let people believe anything they want, because I don't want people to tell me what to believe. So obviously I extend the courtesy. I've always been that way. But I look at the Catholic Church and its hierarchy as being a holdover from the Roman Catholic Church. And we know that the Romans, I'm not saying Jews weren't involved, but we know the Romans... You
mean the Roman Empire?
Well, the Roman Empire. The Romans crucified him. If Jews would have killed Jesus, they would have stoned him to death, because Jews never crucified people. So I think it's a bit ironic, maybe it's bittersweet, that the Romans who killed him 300-400 years later decide they're going to, while the empire's falling, they're going to become Catholics all of a sudden. It starts this Catholic thing up, the Roman Catholic Church. And this is where I think a lot of the holdover, because they wanted to continue, they knew the empire was falling, so they figure, I don't know, it's almost like a hostile takeover in a way. And it's kind of like, I think, Ben, you have to address this. We know that the Romans were into diddling little kids. There's no secret. So I think some of that held over into the Catholic Church. And that's why.
Well, actually, do you know the group that has the highest rates of pedophilia among, like, their clergy?
Who? It's not Jews.
It's Jews. You don't think Jews? You know, Jews are sexually weird. You know that's true. There's a lot of hang-ups.
Then all the lawsuits of billions of dollars are against Catholic priests, not against rabbis.
I know. Yeah, so, we can't afford the Jewish lawyers, right? So there you go. And who's writing the newspaper reports?
Yep.
Well, if you still think Jews control the media in the internet world, why would there be so much anti-Semitism? In other words, if we still controlled the media, why wouldn't people be more friendly to Israel now? So that goes counter to any narrative.
True. So the idea that Jews have absolute supernatural control over the media has been proven to be incorrect.
No, but I think
until this channel gets struck, of course.
No, but the most important thing you fail to mention is if we control anything, you guys worship a Jewish man. Think about it. Yeah. Your God is a Jew. So Christ is king in your book. So basically, if we control anything at all, it's not the media, it's your religions in a sense. So we started.
Well, hey, maybe you control large parts of the entertainment industry because you did a great job with it. I got no problem with that. Why should I feel like that's not fair? You did better than us. You went out to California. The Jews, after they stole Edison's, but there's a long tradition of taking the Goy's thing and making money with it. So they went out to California, started Hollywood, and made a lot of great movies. I want to win with them, the Jews. I don't care.
We wouldn't be on YouTube if it wasn't for two Jews. Think about it.
Right.
2 Jews started
almost everything. Yeah.
Everything.
It's been a great ride. You guys came over around the turn of the century. Sure, there's been some ups and downs, but I mean, we're ruling the world together, at least the entertainment world. So, how about some gratitude?
Exactly.
From us.
Get the likes up. Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. I think if I was going to believe that Jesus was the Messiah, which obviously I don't, then I wouldn't be Catholic, primarily because what I said, I look at it as kind of weird that the same people that crucified the dude started a church around him. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, okay, let me do my apologetics thing. The Jews of the time asked the Romans crucify Christ. The Romans did not decide to they just carried out what the Jews requested of them. So
they were more powerful than the Jews. They could have said no. Nobody
could have said no, but they didn't. It wasn't really a Roman-Jewish conflict. It was an intra-Jewish conflict, and the Romans were just kind of like the,
they were politicians, right?
Politicians who carried it out. Yeah. So.
Well, I'm not saying there weren't a handful of Jews behind it because they thought Jesus was full of himself. And see, today, what would have happened if a guy came along and made the same claims? They might put him in an insane asylum. They might just let him walk the streets. But back then, they viewed him as a threat. So obviously, things were done differently 2,000 years ago. But let's focus on, like I said, if I did believe that he was the Son of God.
Isn't there a thing, Christ is either Lord, lunatic, or liar? Right?
Well, in my book,
he's Lord, lunatic, or liar.
In my book, he was lying. Yes, he was a liar. He was lying. He wasn't really the Messiah. He's not the Son of God any more than you or me is the Son of God. And you know what? He wasn't even from the tribe of Levi, which is the Cohen tribe, which is the priestly tribe, which I'm from. So here's a dude that's not it. But our Messiah is not supposed to come from the Levi tribe necessarily. So basically, and I like what the previous caller said.
Hold on, just to focus you on your original point. You were saying, I wouldn't believe in Catholicism because the Romans crucified Jesus, and then the Romans became Christians. How does that make sense? And my point is, the Romans only crucified Jesus because the Jews asked them to. They didn't.
Well, the Jews also participated in the crucifixion of Christ. But then, really, the early church was Jewish. So,
exactly.
Right.
No, but the whole point is, Grace, Christ went willingly. If he was really God, he could have stopped it, right? A powerful God could have stopped it. He died willingly. Yeah, but he didn't because he wanted to save you folks, the Goyim, the Gentiles.
Right.
That was his thing.
The point of the New Testament is not to hate the Jews, obviously. Exactly. If you read it that way, it's crazy.
If he wasn't sacrificed, whether it's Jews, Romans, or anybody else, you wouldn't have a Catholic religion, right? Exactly. So you should be thanking the Romans in a sense. But all I'm saying is the Romans, to me, as their empire was falling, and we know this historically because there were Christians around before, they decided to start a church to maintain a form of power. And that's why the Vatican is right next to the Roman Colosseum. That's the problem I have with the Catholic Church.
Thank you very much for your points, Macaulay. Appreciate it.
Always love seeing you, buddy.
Have a good day.
You're a great guy.
All right. Next up, we have Big D, who has a question.
All right.
His question is, let me see here. How has the Holocaust replaced Christianity as the modern religion of the West? I'm not entirely
What is it?
sure. He's Holocaust focused.
Yeah, okay, that's
Holocaust
interesting.
has
Yeah.
replaced Christianity as the religion of the West, which I can see. I don't know if this guy's a troll or not, but Big D,
Interesting.
welcome to the stage.
Hey,
Hello?
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Did I frame your question correctly? Was that your question?
Yeah, no, that's fair. And so, kind of my point is how the powers that be have kind of used the Holocaust to justify their agenda and push their agenda on us to the point where Christianity is pretty much been pushed out the back door, or at least been watered down to the point where we're letting this perversion and everything else just enter into every facet of our society. The best example I can give is like you take Halloween and how normalized it is for children to dress up as Satan, the devil, which is literally like the most vile, evil person in the Christian religion. But if you were to dress up as Adolf Hitler, you could potentially be jailed in certain parts of the world. And so that...
Have you thought about dressing up kids like Adolf Hitler? Let's be honest.
What?
Have you personally considered dressing someone up as Adolf Hitler on Halloween?
Well, no, but I mean, like, it should be our right to do so if we wanted to. But I'm just using that as a comparison as how how much more gravity that has than
No, I get what you're saying. I agree. It's an attempt, in a certain sense, you could say that narrative, which didn't actually occur right after the Second World War. It was more like in the 60s and into the 70s, and then really took on steam. You could say it's an attempt to replace Jesus with a kind of group victim mentality, which has then trickled to women and gays and transgender people and all that kind of stuff. And I do think seems satanic and now I think but here's the interesting thing about that sort of stuff. It trolls itself, because now the same people who or it's not the same people, but that thing we can see when you indulge in the victim mentality without resolving it, and you say it's super sacred, we can't talk about it, you then replay it. And I think we're seeing that over the past few years, and I do think people are waking up to it. So
definitely,
I think the amount of sympathy for that, like that narrative, it had a lot of power, but for a short period of time. And I think the good thing is warped narratives don't hold up. So I'm hopeful.
I don't know. I think they kind of have, at least with the older generation. I mean, I think that's why they
but I mean, worldwide, it never really caught on, except in America, where you had this huge
in the entire Western civilization. And I think that kind of ideology has promoted liberalism and multiculturalism to the point where white people are being replaced in their own homelands. And
but here's my thing about that. If you want to say, go ahead.
Well, it's based on the whole white guilt narrative. Like they'll use that for they'll say slavery in regards to that, but I think really white guilt boils down to us, the quote unquote atrocity of the Holocaust. I think we have so much quote unquote guilt of that as Christians, at least older boomer Christians that they've let.
Really, I don't think so. I don't really actually feel like
think they've let these people.
Many Americans felt guilty about that.
Well, they've infiltrated like every like aspect of our society, and like that happened, where back before World War II, our Christian forefathers would weed this stuff out like before it became an issue. Like we'd see them setting up child brothels and things like that, and we'd kick them out of our homelands.
Yeah, you're talking about the historical, let's say, WASP exclusion of Jews from like country clubs and stuff like that.
Well, no. I'm talking about like
which was a thing.
History. How we
actually
had to remove these people from our societies for a reason. It's not just based off of like, some anti-religious sentiment, because we never treated Muslims or any other religion in the same breath. There has to be.
Well, I mean, the Muslims did get run out of the Iberian Peninsula. That it wasn't like super tolerant.
Yeah, but not to the extent. I mean,
true.
The whole 109 countries narrative. I've never heard that from Muslims.
Yeah, I agree. But here's what I would say: if you are the victim of a tiny minority, like you're weak as a people. So I understand you could say, for example, the Russian Revolution. There is a way in which you could say like there were certain intellectuals who were overwhelmingly, sort of Jewish.
They absolutely.
What do you call it?
Marx was
utopianists, right? Jewish utopianism. And you could say they're the descendants of Barabbas, right? They thought we war and violence is the way to. Okay, but like the Russian people went along with it. They could easily have said no to it. They didn't.
They used the inequity of the society, and they used they took the poor people and the people that are destitute and manipulated them. There's oftentimes,
I understand that, but like the people allowed themselves to be manipulated too.
Yeah, and
they're
So,
complicit.
well,
right?
that's one problem with Christians, is that we are so kind-hearted that we'll overlook certain things to the point where they'll continue to push this line to the point where.
Yeah, but like you're saying getting manipulated is being kind-hearted? No.
Well, no, but I mean, you give them an inch, they take a mile, and so over the years they've continuously pushed the line. It's like the boiling frogs analogy to the point where.
Well, let me give you an example. I believe that
out of our own homelands.
All right, well, hold on a second. Let me just push back a little bit. Superhero culture, I think, is also a Jewish replacement for Christianity, right? So first you turn Jesus into a gay guy with sandals, right? There was a Jewish element of Jesus Christ Superstar. Then you replace him with Clark Kent, Spider-Man, Batman, all the rest, who are violent, who are
messianic,
who like, right? Okay, and now most American kids have a superhero kind of idea. Like, I should be violent. I should be, what the Zionists wanted to be, like tough, violent, antisocial, and all the rest. That's our fault. That's our fault.
It is our fault that
letting our kids.
We've allowed the evil in, and we've allowed it to manifest throughout the years to the point where it is.
So I think, like, if the way I see God utilizing the Jews, yes, they keep us on our toes, and I'm glad they keep us on our toes. Point. And when we don't, this is where I'd say Catholicism helps, because historically, only where the church was strong was this dynamic able to be kept in check. And when the church got weak, look at who was infiltrated in the Christian church in the United States. Catholics? Never. It was evangelicals. Evangelicals, right? So they should have been Catholics.
Been infiltrated as well. I think most churches have, or at least have been watered down to the point where,
what world leader is pretty openly opposing the Americo-Zionist war? We know the Pope. So
yeah, and you got to give him a lot of credit for that. And
yeah, maybe he hasn't been as strong as he should be, but it kind of looks good.
I feel like a lot of people are waking up to this, but I feel like it's too late. I think they've gained such a foothold and such control over our societies that there's pretty much no going back. Even if you,
but isn't that the same victim mentality? Like, isn't that like?
Well, I don't. You know what? That's a fair point, but I think there's a difference between fake victim mentality and the fact that like young Christians are actually victims to their, to their boomer parents and to this Jewish agenda that have sold them and thrown us overboard and our futures overboard. Yeah,
really
but
quickly,
I mean, you can say no to a lot of it.
Damius, thank you for the 5 gifted Pugio Fide memberships.
Well, I would
Very
say thank you, Damius, as always. I would just say that I hear a lot of Zoomer boys doing this thing like, what can I do? And I would say to them, and you probably would too, sitting around complaining about this on the internet 24/7 is not a good thing for a young man to do. Do the best you can, learn a skill, learn a trade. The Jews aren't going to keep you from succeeding if you want to succeed. It may be that a lot of this anti-white sentiment, does like make it harder to succeed. Okay, but like, I don't know. I hate the Irish, but I also love the Irish because like they'll never get licked. They'll always come back fighting. And I do think there's something really good about being the underdog or having difficulties to overcome. I do think there's something in human nature that's like, okay, sure, let's do this. And if you look at that particular situation, I mean, you can't be thinking that the last 5 years has been good for this cause. I mean,
no, and I think that's great.
So they are losing. So it's not always they're smarter than us and they manipulate us because they're out of options at this point.
They're certainly not smarter than us. They're just more willing to do devious things to gain control.
Right, but in the long run, if you do that, if you play dirty, like people will eventually see what you're doing. And if you look at worldwide sentiment, there's a lot of anger, right? And it's become more mainstream. It's more allowed to be said. Like,
and that and that gives me hope. But I think the reason why that people have not been allergic to this, like the older generations, is because they do control legacy media. But now with the younger generation,
that's true. I think that's largely true. I think it could be exaggerated, but yeah.
Well, I don't think it's an exaggeration. You can look at the CEOs and the.
It can be if you say 100% of everything.
It's not.
I'm saying it's disproportionate. Undoubtedly, no one's going to argue. No Jew is even going to argue with that. Hollywood is a Jewish creation. That's definitely true.
Absolutely. Yeah, and so and their films and they also completely dominate the pornography industry.
There's a disproportionate, but like Larry Flint wasn't Jewish. Hugh Hefner wasn't Jewish, I don't think.
The guy who owned.
I agree with you, though. I agree with you. You'll find disproportionate any kind of dirty industry, right? Because of reasons like that go back in history. I agree. Abortion is another one.
I mean, and see, that's part of the problem is that like nobody's like standing up and saying, you know what? If 90% of these issues are caused by Jews, then maybe there's a correlation there. Instead of saying, well, some are doing it, some aren't. Like I think that's kind of the boat that we're in.
You can overdo it, but I think you can over exaggerate it on both sides, right? I mean, you can say, I think it's fantastic to be a victim, and you can say to young men, yeah, just sit around blaming the Jews and smoking weed, but like you're not advocating that, right?
No, and
so you have to get it right. You have to get it right, and I think
respect young Gen Z men like probably the most because they're the ones that are like alert to this stuff, and they're basically like living life on hard mode because like the amount of effort that you have to put in to get the same results as our boomer parents did is just insane. And for a lot of these men are red pilled. They go to the gym, they work out, they keep themselves in shape. They're trying their best to make money. The quality of the woman is a quarter of what our grandmothers were.
But it's a tricky. Can I just say it's a tricky thing? Like
I don't know about that. I think Gen Z girls are great.
It's a tricky thing to blame.
Yeah.
It's a tricky thing once you start blaming the Jews because I assume you're like pro-Palestine, anti-Israel.
I mean, I'm not necessarily pro-Palestine, but I do have sympathy for these people that have existed in their homeland for 2,000 years.
Okay.
And because of the Rothschilds, the Balfour Agreement, they're basically, They're basically being kicked.
That's not a. I know that's not a conspiracy theory. That is like totally true.
That's
the Rothschilds gave my. That's not in any way controversial. What you're saying, that's true.
But here's the thing, right? There's an American-Israel alliance, but the thing is, if you criticize the Zionists for what they've done to the Palestinian people, there is a valid question about, like, well, isn't that what colonists did to the Native Americans? Like, is it not the same playbook to move in, dominate, kill, and take over?
Well, yeah, I mean, but to an extent, because like we have like nations have conquered and been conquered throughout, you know, the history of the world.
True.
I feel like up until America, we pretty much ended that. We expanded our territory, you know, from coast to coast, and then we kind of stopped. We could have kept going, especially after World War II when we got nukes. We could have taken over the damn world, but we chose not to.
Yeah.
So,
well, empires are costly, as we're finding out, right? So
there's a difference between conquest with like mental and physical ability, and then just this pure evil presence that infiltrates society and manipulates people over the generations to abandon.
Can I ask you? Can I ask you just? I'm not sure if you're familiar with this. I get that. Like, I get the sense that you're more like a Dan Bilzerian type of guy who's going to say, "I'm not going to do this." Like, I'm not talking about all Jews. I'm talking about the Zionists. Where you're saying, no, it's a Jewish problem, because I think that that's a mistake. But you may disagree, and Fuentes does that a little bit too. Like, because I think it's good to keep them separate.
Like, when you say Jews, do you mean Zionists and AIPAC, or do you mean all Jews?
I mean,
like, do you think it's a racial thing? Do you think it's a...
but it's like, it's not all of them, but they all are. Does that make sense? You know,
but I mean, some of the biggest anti-Zionists are Jews, like Finkelstein. He wrote Holocaust Inc. It would be like telling you everything you want, right, about what the Holocaust became. He totally agrees.
How are we to know that these aren't, like, this isn't controlled opposition? Like Bernie Sanders, for example, is in air quotes against Israel. But he's Jewish himself, and so
how do I know that you're not controlled opposition? How do I know that you're not controlled opposition? Like, how do we know that anyone's not?
Yeah, but you know, and there again, you're the hypotheticals of that, and again, like, because we're afraid to, like, you know, accidentally throw the baby out with the bathwater, we're going to ignore the actual elephant in the room, which is the fact that these Jews control practically every aspect of our society. They control our politicians. They're flooding our country with immigrants. They've brainwashed.
Well, I would say Zionists, but if you want to say Jews, I do understand that. But, like, I would say, like, for example, when they poll American Jews now, American Jews, especially younger ones, are anti-Zionists.
Well, I know, and I think that's a blessing, like, that social media has allowed this to happen. But because of legacy media being predominantly ran by Jews, like, that would have never happened up until now, and that's why they're trying to pinch these platforms. Like, you know, TikTok was bought by, is it Larry Ellison, and dual Israeli citizenship.
Sure.
The guy.
But I mean, like, propaganda can see, like, what I would say is propaganda and lies and things like that. People can use, and they can play dirty. People can cheat, but in the long run, it's not a good idea, because you will lose in the long run. The Soviets did it, right? They had complete control of the Soviet Empire. They had no challengers. And it died because people stopped believing it. And I have hope, like,
well, they ran out of money
in that sense.
But
also, no one believed it. Everyone was like, this sucks. I don't want a gulag, you know? Like, it sucks.
I mean, yeah, they ran out of money, like, through the Iraq war in the late 80s and whatnot, and because we're fighting proxy wars.
But they also ran out of steam. They ran out of steam because there was no utopia. It was just a hellhole, don't you think? Yeah, and I think being in Israel right now, it's like, this is the worst place to be for Jewish people. It's dangerous here. There's missiles raining down on us. Like, it's not safe. This is the land of
milk and honey for them. They make so much fucking money off of us, and then they put their friends and family into positions of power to make.
No, Dad, you were referencing Israel, not America.
No, I'm saying Israel. Yeah. No, I agree. America, but I think a lot of the wealthy ones are going to move back to Europe and America because I don't know how long. If you're going to spend months every year in a bomb shelter, like as a wealthy person, like.
But they and you know what? They brought that upon themselves. I mean,
I get you. I get it. Yeah, I do think Zionism is imploding, like the Soviet Empire is imploding. I agree with you that, if the floodgates were to open and the Palestinians were to, like, if October 7th was to have, like, there's going to be rivers of blood, and like, I get why those people are resentful. I don't want to see that, but like, I would say, like, okay, we got to learn some lessons from history. If you are if you're saying you were the victims of the Holocaust, you might not want to repeat it, because then your argument fails. But I would prefer that they just stop oppressing those people. But it may be too late. I get it.
Why is it that Japan is one of our greatest allies and we nuked them twice and killed millions of their civilians? And
agreed. Terrible. These Jews racist too.
Get over the fucking Holocaust. Japan got over getting nuked twice. And if not for the United States, Israel.
True, I get you. Yeah,
Israel would be wiped off the map. And they're
let me even go further. If you look into what happened in the 40s, first of all, it wasn't an organized thing in Berlin. It happened because racial resentment in the midst of war, or whatever, ethnic resentment in the midst of war, and the resentment turns into bloodshed. And the reason for the resentment is not, well, they're just a little different from us. The reason for the resentment was all the stuff you're talking about, right? The Central European Goyim had enough of being humiliated, manipulated, lied to, and everything else. Yeah. And so, but I don't think that's unique to the Jewish people. I think any group that does that, you should learn the lesson from history. I don't think you should go into like a racial thing or just learn the lesson from history. If you do this to people, you'll get away with it, and then you will get ganked. And I do think Israel is going to get ganked soon, and I hope they wake up before that.
Well, amen. I mean, that day's coming, because once the boomers die off, we're not going to be electing Zionist politicians anymore. But that's also scary, because if we're not their benefactor, they might just cut the United States off and turn.
Oh, no, worse than that. Worse than that. Look what they did to the English. After the English gave them everything and then kind of pulled back a little, you had Englishmen hanging from trees. And, I don't think they're going to be open to a clean divorce. I think the nukes are going to be pointed towards us.
Probably, but what clean release from England was there? Because they're clearly in control or have some influence, because England is not England anymore. It's been
true. But I mean, England was like, all right, we're out of here. This sucks. Well, and they, I think, weren't treated very well by those they had, given all this to. But I get it. People, crazy people want to do crazy. To me, it's like a psycho girlfriend that you can't, you think you can cut it off. And I agree with you that I don't think that's how it's going to go. I think we are going to catch hell.
Are you familiar with the Samson option?
In the sense, they'll take, you say, because I do think there is a kind of death wish at the core here. So I am concerned about the whole arsenal getting.
Yeah, the Samson option, and there's a Wikipedia article on it even, is that if Israel goes down, they're going to try to take down the entire world with them.
Yeah.
And whether or not they officially have nukes, we know they have nukes. And so that's not just our enemies.
And they're not just pointed at Gaza. They're pointed at Moscow, New York, London. I think that's true. I hope. I think God will protect us from that, but I do get how you might say, yeah, it's not the Iranians that we should be worried about in terms of nuclear weapons. I get it, and I think people are starting to get it, even in the government are starting to say when we do cut off, it's got to be maybe a little more than just saying thank you very much. We're not going to be able to give you the check, but it'll be interesting.
But my whole thought is I guess, boils down to why are we as a society so afraid to talk about this stuff openly? Like, it's the third rail of, politics, is talking about Jewish influence on aspects of society.
I mean, you have to say it's gotten more acceptable.
Yeah,
recently it has gotten more acceptable. I still would put a rail on it. Like, I don't think it's helpful to do racial theories, to talk about how they're the devil. Like, I just think that's stupid. It doesn't hold up to scrutiny. And, and I think, like, I don't think calling for violence is a good idea. But I mean, I get how, like, at a certain point you might say you got to do what you got to do. But I think Americans should rally to the Catholic Church and say no to the things they can say no to. But if we keep saying yes to it, it's partly our fault. Like, your kids, my kids have access to pornography. You could say that's because of them. Okay, but they don't have to click on pornography, and they shouldn't.
In your face from a young age. When I was younger, we had dial-up internet, and so you'd see like an image, and you'd click off and click on it. It would take 5 images. It'd be like looking at magazines. But nowadays, I
remember it used to come one line at a time, and I was like, okay, I got the neck.
But now these kids have like the most wild pornography in their face, like.
But the thing is, it's interesting.
School. This is partly why our birth rates have declined, because these young men, like, all they know is porn, and so that's what satiates them. So they don't even have the desire to go after women anymore. And that's
true. But they also what's helpful to know, because I have kids, that they hate it. They don't think porn is like fantastic. They hate it. They do hate it.
That's, again, these young Gen Z men. Like, Gen Z gets a bad rap, but like a lot of there's more Gen Z going to church right now than I think millennial men, and that's like a knee-jerk reaction to this like toxic, like, Jewish man society we're in. And so
the millennials are worthless. I really think.
Oh yeah, millennial women are the problem, in my opinion.
Yeah.
How old are you, Big D?
36. I'm actually.
I think you represent like an articulate. Probably a little more than me. Like, I would say it's a little victim-y, but I get that you're saying, like, you got to be real how bad it is. Okay, I got you.
Being a victim, it's about being aware of this so that we can, like, come to a solution. Like, and I think the fact that we've ignored these problems throughout, like, the last, like, 3 or 4 generations is why we are, in air quotes, victims now. We've let ourselves become that, and we need to stand up and be men again and take.
Yeah, but I think we need to stand together, and so that's why I would say, like, to bring it back to I think the church, because like individual people on the internet, like, okay, I've got a network of people. Like, what is that going to do, right? You need institutions that can't be infiltrated, and I do think the church is a strong argument for that.
Oh yeah,
the Republican Party, I don't think so.
Well, now
the Democrat Party, maybe.
The Republicans are. I mean, the Zionists are going to be on their way out. Young Republicans aren't buying this shit anymore. The whole files in the Iran war is a.
So you at least would say you believe that this could be elected out. You don't think, like, well, the elections are all rigged. And there's no way to break it.
I do think they're rigged. I really do think they're rigged.
But you think it's not 100%? Like, I don't think they wanted. Well, I don't know if they wanted.
Well, if we all, like, stood up together, we could weed this problem out. But I do think they're rigged. Like, you got to get rid of these electronic voting systems. Like, I think that Trump won in 2016, right? And that was just like, to get everybody on board with him. They put Biden in there in 2020 to pass all this COVID shit because Trump would have never gone along with all these mandates and shit. And once he did his job, they got Trump back in. And, now
they had him lie that he wasn't going to do wars, and then he gave them everything they wanted.
Yeah, and now we're in war with Iran. So.
But I think Trump is doing a weird troll of the trolls because, did we really go to war with Iran? Not really. And now he's like, we need a ceasefire. And I have a lot of hope that he was doing a weird troll because he did say in caps, enough is enough to the Israelis. And, like, I have never heard any politician say that. Now, Trump says a lot of shit, but, Like,
Yeah.
He said that back in the summer though too, when we did the
there was
and they kept going at it, and he basically told Israel enough's enough.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, it's interesting how it'll play out. Like, but there's this idea of Kushner runs him, but like I think there's also an argument. Like I heard this guy say something interesting about how like Kushner cucked him too, and so he wants to get back at him. And there is that old wasp. Not that Trump is really a wasp, but like, you know, there is some hostility there. It's not. I don't think it's beyond possibility that Trump, who now, like, he knows I could be killed at any time, whoever did that, like, he doesn't give a fuck, and maybe he will, like, kind of push the envelope in a way that, I mean, if anyone's going to do it, it's him. It's not going to be Kamala Harris, you know.
Oh no, and here's the thing: if Kamala was elected, we'd be in the same exact situation.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
He received over $10 million from AIPAC as well, and that's something else. Is we need to register AIPAC as a foreign entity. That way, they won't have the lobbying power. We send them what $6 billion a year in foreign aid, then they send it back to buy off our politicians, and they basically get a free ticket to control, you know, anything they want. We give them, you know, so that's the start. If Kamala would have won, nothing would have changed. But you know,
I would recommend, if you've ever heard this guy Jacob that we talked to, is Jewish. Faturchi, F-A-T, what is it? F-A-T-U-R-E, Faturchi. I've told him it'd be good to talk to people outside of, you know, your zone. And he even has a guy in Israel who is in like a kind of super liberal Zionist, but he's like into the project. They would talk to you, and you know, you might. My thing is like, you know, there are, to talk about the Jews is like, it's not really like that, and they do have a vibrant self-critical thing, though I would agree that like the polling done on Israeli Jews makes them look like they're psychotic, but I don't think that's I think that can change, but you know, who knows.
It's not all of them. I'm a plumber, so like I've been in like a Jewess's house. She lived in like absolute poverty. And
that's that.
So
old
I could,
school
you know,
lingo.
Obviously, like not all of them are like benefiting off of our society to that level. But, I mean,
even the Holocaust Inc. thing, because it's Finkelstein's Jewish, and he's saying it's a small group of people who have done this Holocaust Inc. thing, and it's not even really like, you know what I mean? It's like you got to be one of these people to be getting the billions, and it's a racket.
And you know what? And that kind of goes back to my troll question, I guess, that if you want to break down like the per hour rate that Hitler had to like find and process these individuals to achieve that. The number is a bit preposterous, and I think, you know, maybe we wouldn't have so much guilt over this if say it was 271,000, or if it didn't happen at all.
Have you ever read? I know this is like sort of like immolating yourself on the internet, but have you ever watched like David Irving? He has an interesting middle position because he's seen as the boogeyman, but he was a real historian. But his point was the number is high, but it was all done like outside of this town, in these mass graves. The whole, like, the camps, there were a lot of people who died, but yeah, maybe it was a work camp. Maybe the conditions were horrendous, but like that was World War II. But it acted as a convenient way you can see what happened because 500 mounds in the middle of Poland is nothing you can really visit.
Yeah, if you dig deep enough, they'll say, well, obviously not all of them were killed in Auschwitz. Like, did you know there was an Auschwitz II? Like, so
I know all the things about the chimneys, about if you scrape the
how there was.
I mean,
there wasn't a chimney back then, and
it is real, and like, but it is also a meme at this point. But I mean, it's literally true that when you go visit Auschwitz, that is a reproduction. Those buildings were destroyed, and so it is a fake. Were there people who died there? I would say undoubtedly. But my thing about that is, how much sense would it make for an oil-starved nation in the middle of a war that they're losing to spend all of their petroleum to get people across Europe to then just kill them? Why wouldn't you just put a bullet in their brain, right?
It's insane because he would have had to have catch and process 171 Jews an hour, day and night, for 4 years straight while fighting a war on two fronts. We can't even find fucking 1 million illegals in the United States with all our wealth and resources. So it's a bit far-fetched. Also, the 6 million number.
Big D, you have summoned a guest named Rabbi Ira Mandelbaum.
Ira Mandelbaum. This sounds like the Irishman.
I have the feeling is our favorite Irishman. Big D, thank you for calling in. We do have to move on to the next caller, but I appreciate the content.
That's fair. Thank you for listening. I know it's the controversy.
No, you're very reasonable. It wasn't a troll.
No,
I mean, I agree with a lot of it. I probably would be a little less.
We just need to stop being afraid to talk about it.
Yeah,
True.
I think that's good.
And
I think that's good. I think a lot of Jews would agree.
Up a lot about this.
I think a lot of Jews would agree. A lot of Jews would disagree, but I do
definitely
think
a lot would disagree.
Yeah, better than blood. Better than blood.
Thank you for coming on. I just wanted to show what that whole conversation reminded me of. Only 43 seconds.
He tells me this big story about how the pictures from the planes on Dachau and stuff don't show enough. The chimney is not long enough. It doesn't cast a long shadow enough to have possibly been big enough to service the killing machine of Hitler. That's what he told me. And he said, how could the cyanide, why would the guards not all be dead from pulling open the doors? I go, I don't know. I don't have every answer. But anyways.
I've been saying that for years.
Oh, yeah? Oh, okay. Well, you finally found someone to agree with you.
Oh my God. There's a whole series of Norm Macdonald clips. Adam Egan, his co-host, who I think is on the same Hyde show now, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong, but he tells me about the smokestacks. He's a rabid anti-Semite. There's a whole bunch. Anyways, his clip on 420 is good. Well, I do see we have some callers, but guys, we are end the show there. Thank you very much for coming over from ThorpTube. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for the donos and the memberships, especially to Damius. Thank you. I'm gonna go enjoy some Indian food, and my stream, I will be live either tonight or I might be tired. Maybe it's either tonight or tomorrow. We're going to try to start making this a regular thing, like a talk show, a couple hours a day. But I still have my lesbian Tinder to set up. I have my GED test to take, and I have gambling, of course. So I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.